Hello, welcome to the Katie Sassine Show. I'm your host, Katie Sassine. First off, I want to thank everyone for tuning in today, whether you're tuning into our live feed on FYNTV, Facebook, or if you're listening in on YouTube. Thank you for listening to the Katie Sassine Show of FetchYourNews.com and FYNTV. So today, we're going to start off with talking about President John F. Kennedy attacking secrecy. And this is an address. It's called The President in the Press. It was before the American Newspaper Publishers Association, and it occurred April 27th of 1961. The speech was regarding the current events of the Cold War at the time and how non-traditional enemies were gaining information on how the U.S. was battling this war. And the enemy that we are referring to is the USSR, the Soviet Union. So let's take a listen to what President John F. Kennedy had to say in 1961 about secrecy that some politicians still haven't learned today.
Us in unaccustomed ways in every sphere of human activity. This deadly challenge imposes upon our society two requirements of direct concern, both to the press and to the President. Two requirements that may seem almost contradictory in tone, but which must be reconciled and fulfilled if we are to meet this national peril. I refer first to the need for far greater public information, and second, to the need for far greater official secrecy. The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society, and we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know. But I do ask every publisher, every editor, and every newsman in the nation to re-examine his own standards and to recognize the nature of our country's peril. In time of war, the government and the press.
Welcome back to the Katie Sassine Show. So it was 1961 when late President John F. Kennedy spoke before the American Newspaper Publishers Association. The speech titled The President in the Press. It's been nearly 60 years since 1961, and we still, to this day, have issues with secrecy and secret societies. For instance, I consider the OFA a secret society, Organizing for Action, and MoveOn.org, and societies like this that apparently and reportedly secretly fund people to resist and oppose the president, therefore causing civil unrest. And there are these secretive people that are operating within our government. And I believe that Susan Rice is one of them, the correspondent of the United Nations of the U.S. and formerly National Security Advisor to President Obama. I think there's a team of people, including President Barack Hussein Obama, Hillary Rodham Clinton, President Bill Clinton, and Susan Rice, among others, that are involved in secret societies and they do not reveal all of the information to the public because it would impede their secret agenda of an open society, which they make to look pleasant and appealing, when in reality, it is just a means for ultimate government control. And this is also a reason why politicians and the Pope and other public figures use Twitter and use social media to communicate, just like every other normal human being. We had a guest caller that was talking about it. Why shouldn't Trump use Twitter? And of course, this ties into secrecy. Well, Trump should use Twitter so that he can directly address the people. So there's no secret, so that everything gets put out on the table. And, you know, it's a good idea because the president gets to say exactly what he wants to say and nothing more and nothing less, so that the people can make reference back to exactly what the president said. In addition to the speeches they have access to, that we have access to on WhiteHouse.gov, we can go to Twitter and get a brief little snippet from the president himself of something more candid, of something more on the spot, of something that he felt like saying in the moment. And, you know, it's just an additional, it's just an additional source of information. But it is a source of information directly from the source. So it doesn't get any better than that, because with that, anyone can take that news and make their own opinions just based off of what the man said himself and not what a reporter commented on it. Now, that speech again was regarding the Cold War. President John F. Kennedy mentioned two seemingly contradictory requirements to the press and the president that must be reconciled and fulfilled to defeat this national peril. Again, this was before the American Newspaper Publishers Association, encouraging honesty and openness in the press. That has been, as of late, a huge issue. And these two seemingly contradictory requirements that must be reconciled and fulfilled to defeat this national peril, and regarding the Cold War, were greater public information and greater official security. Remember when Trump said that shouldn't have been leaked with Mike Flynn, and that he felt bad for Mike Flynn and he asked Mike Flynn to resign, but did it reluctantly because he knew that information should not have been leaked about Mike Flynn, and he knew how it would have made him look to the American people? Why is that? Because a lack of official security that Kennedy addressed in 1961. And he addressed greater public information. And now what do we have Trump doing on Twitter? Posting information to the public without spin doctors, without reporters putting their spin on it. So Trump is supportive of these beliefs that John F. Kennedy put into place. So if you admire John F. Kennedy, well, he parallels Trump in many ways. So research into that if you are not a Trump supporter and you are a supporter of Kennedy. Two different people, but with two ultimate similar goals. In this speech, President Kennedy had some of the most amazing quotes that I've ever heard in my life. I used this speech in my first show, Polytronics, when I was on Kennesaw State University campus and working with Al Radio, volunteering as a audio production member and making liners and sweepers and working with audio production material on a day-to-day basis. I was doing my show Polytronics at the time, and I used this speech in my intro to my show, and I mixed it with a, very upbeat song. And the words are so, the words really get you. They really get to your heart. So let's just go over a couple quotes. He says, "The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society." And he said that the U.S. is inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. What flashes in my mind right now? Organizing for Action, OFA. OFA is flashing in my head right now like a strobe light whenever I read this quote, as of late, since we've been studying the FOA in the shadow government. So why would we condone President Obama and this OFA and this shadow government when John F. Kennedy said to us 60 years ago, we are inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, secret oaths, and secret proceedings? Conspiracy theorists will say, some, that Kennedy was addressing the Illuminati as the secret society. And as some of you may or may not know, some say this speech also led to his assassination. So, you know, the very radical conspiracy theorists say that Kennedy is addressing the Illuminati, but verbatim, he's addressing any secret society, secret oath, or secret proceeding. And one of those groups that has the reputation of having that is the Illuminati, so I can see why conspiracy theorists jump to the Illuminati explanation. So there's a nice quote of the quote, there's a nice picture of the quote we went over with JFK's photo in the background, how secrecy is repugnant and we are against it in a free and open society. Another great quote, the dangers of the concealment of pertinent facts. The dangers of the concealment of pertinent facts from the public far outweigh the dangers which are cited, the dangers which are cited to justify it. The dangers which are cited to justify it. In other words, concealing relevant information from the public is far more dangerous than keeping it from the public and the danger that could come from the public not knowing the reality of the situation. And I'll tell you why. Because we are a government for the people, by the people, and run by the people. So if we don't know the facts, then we don't know how to run our government. And this is a republic, which means that the majority should never outweigh the minority. We should always maintain, no matter who you are, no matter what you believe, no matter what race you are, anything. In the United States of America, you will always have your inalienable rights because that's what kind of country we are, because we are a republic. So if our citizens that run the government, that vote on the people who are at our capital from state to state or nationally, if they don't know about politics, then our country goes to shambles. All right, we've got to cut to a break. Stay right back with us. We'll continue with the speech and we'll get into Hillary Clinton calling Trump a demagogue and what we have to say about that.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge, we have your new house in stock.
Better days ahead at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. We make everything better. It all starts with a huge new Chevy selection. Then we heap on the discounts to make sure your Chevy price is the lowest you'll find anywhere. And if you like great customer service, you'll love it at Days. Bigger selection, lower prices, easy financing, and great customer service. Your better day is just ahead at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on-site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East Ellijay. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in Ellijay next to Walmart.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Spring is one of the best times of year to visit the North Georgia mountains. Not only do we celebrate fall apples in Gilmer County, we celebrate the blossoms of spring. Georgia Apple Blossom Festival brings one exciting weekend to East Ellijay, Georgia. This free, pet-friendly event has over 50 hand-selected regional vendors offering food, art, crafts, kids' activities, and more. For more information, visit GeorgiaAppleBlossomFestival.com.
Hello, welcome back to the Katie Sassine Show. So if you've been tuned in with us, then you know what's going on at the moment. We are talking about JFK's speech in 1961 that was before the American Newspaper Publishers Association on the 27th of April, 1961. So early 60s, and this address is known as the President and the Press. The President addressing the press on secrecy. And the highlight, well, the setting of the speech was during Cold War era and addressing Cold War and the dangers of Cold War, and especially the dangers of not securing public information and not securing official security. So really advocating greater public information and greater official security. And so I've cited Trump using Twitter as a way that in modern days we try to get public information out there from the source, from the ultimate source, and how that's beneficial for us. And also how Trump had to reluctantly ask Mike Flynn to resign because of the information leak that he had, communicated with the Russian U.S. diplomat. So, Sergei. Moving on, Sergei Kislyak. So moving on to more from the speech, we were citing the most poignant, I guess I should say, quotes from the speech, because this speech is incredible. If you haven't listened to the whole thing, it is something you should sit down, pour a glass of wine and listen to, or have a cup of coffee or tea and listen to, and just really think about what JFK is saying. As we all know, JFK was assassinated, and his assassination is still up in the air. There's accusations that the CIA did it, that the KGB did it. There's accusations that one man did it spontaneously, and that's who we know who's been accused for it for decades now. So Kennedy said quotes like, "The dangers of the concealment of pertinent facts far outweigh the dangers which are cited to justify it." And that's the quote I left off with before we broke for commercials. And that's the quote that says basically flat out that hiding information from the public is extremely dangerous, because the public of the United States of America must run the government. So therefore, the public needs to be well informed of politics just as much as the president is. And that's what Donald Trump understands. So he goes to Twitter and he addresses the people. Because why don't we deserve to be addressed by the president? Why are people so against Trump telling us what he wants to say himself, without mediation from journalists, without mediation from spin doctors, without any kind of twist on what he's saying whatsoever? He should want us to know what he's saying, and he does. And that's why he tweets out. And you know what? Just like the caller said in yesterday's episode, he's a human being. If he feels like he should be able to tweet as president of the United States, then guess what? He can do that. And people need to be quiet about it and stop complaining about it all the time. And people just all in all need to get over the fact that Trump is the president, whether they like it or not. They need to get over it. It's about time. People are still whining and complaining. When people like JFK from 1960, that I know everyone loves because he's such a charmer, and he was with Marilyn Monroe, and he was with Jackie, and he was with the two most cosmopolitan, iconic women of the 60s. He had both of them. People just go nuts for him. People go crazy for him. He was a total just person magnet. And everyone loves him. Now, Donald Trump is not a person magnet, but if you like JFK, then maybe you like Donald Trump more than you think. And if you already like Trump and you already understand and like many aspects about JFK, then we're already on the same page, which is great. So I see so many parallels with JFK and Donald Trump, except everyone loves JFK, and Donald Trump's approval rating has gotten record lows. And that's just to me, it's just a bummer. For lack of better words, it's very disappointing, because you would think people would have more respect for someone who has brought themselves to this position by themselves. And from a privileged background or not, if you study Donald Trump, you know that he earned everything that he's gotten today. And if you haven't studied him, well, shame on you. Study him before you judge. Anyway, so he goes, after citing how dangerous it is not to give the public information, the public that's going to run the country, that should be running the country, JFK says, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And when the Syrian attacks happened last week, what did Donald Trump say? He said, no child of God should ever go through something that horrific. He called out to God in his speech. And what did he say? He said, we ask for God's wisdom. We pray for the lives of the wounded and the souls that have passed. And why would Donald Trump cite God? Is he trying to push religion upon people? No. He's fostering our traditions, as the United States of America is a nation under God. And if you went to public school, like I did, in Georgia, then you grew up saying that every single morning before you started your first class every single day. I pledge allegiance under God. There you go. So President John F. Kennedy, he also addressed that no official of his administration should use anything as an excuse to censor the news, or should use this speech as an excuse to censor the news. Because he knows that the press, even back in the 60s, was so prone to twisting the news, he had to outright state to the press, do not use this, and that no official will use this speech, I will assure you, because I'm telling you verbatim, as an excuse to censor the news. Because with the twisting of words, if you don't directly say exactly what you want, the press can twist and turn it however they so choose. So he made it clear to say, no one will be using this to censor the news. Because my point of this speech is for greater public information. That's one of the keys of the two goals of the speech that we address, which is greater public information and greater official security. Two needs that Trump understands and supports, and two needs that will lead to peace as well. So, moving on to the word demagogue. That explains this background of George Soros and Hillary Clinton. Now, there's a tweet from Hillary Clinton. She posted on March 24th, and she said, let's not be distracted. Let's continue to stand up, organize, resist Trump, and put forth good ideas to improve the existing people's lives. Wow, beautiful. That's the most insincere, nice statement I've read all day. So, many news sources claim that Trump is a demagogue. Hillary Clinton openly referred to Trump as a demagogue during the presidential race. And I could bet money that she has multiple times. I'm not betting on the show because I don't want to be held up to it, but I probably would bet that. Bet money on that. So what is a demagogue? Here we go. From Merriam-Webster, our official source of definitions in the United States and the English-speaking world. A demagogue is a leader who makes use of popular prejudices and false claims and promises in order to gain power. This is what she accused Trump of being. And definition 2, a leader championing the cause of the common people in ancient times. So, as we can see, the word demagogue has really changed over time. Now, the interesting thing about linguistics is how the meanings of words completely change with the passage of time. So definition 2 was a leader who stood for the common people in ancient times. And now, probably due to all of the political correctness in today's society and the overcompensation of political correctness that's just simply exhausting in all reality, The definition now of a demagogue is a leader who makes use of popular prejudices and false claims and promises in order to gain power. Now, whose fault is that in a republic if a demagogue comes to power? It's the people's. It's the people's fault. And whose fault is it if the people are uninformed? It's the government's fault in the United States. Why? Because I went to public school. Because you probably went to public school. Because the person standing next to you or the person who's with you in your house right now probably went to public school. And who decides what we get to learn in school? The federal government decides what gets to be approved and not approved to learn in public schools. The Department of Education. And look who's privatizing education. Look who wants to privatize it. Trump's administration. Wonder why? Because we've been deliberately misinformed for years and years and years and years. So we're going to show a clip. We had a clip of Clinton referring to Trump as a demagogue, but we don't have time for that today. So you can check out that video if you go to YouTube. I'm gonna tell you what title to look up if you want to check out this video for yourself. It's Hillary Clinton at our best, comma, Americans have rejected demagogues and fearmongers. Donald Trump is no. That's the title. It's from USA News and World News latest. So she literally calls Donald Trump a demagogue in this video. She bashes him. That was the basis of her failing campaign, bashing the opponent. A losing way to campaign from the start, just bashing someone else. So I've got quotes from that. Obviously, she referred to him as a demagogue. She said Trump is encouraging violence and chaos to get votes. She said that Trump wanted to ban all Muslims from the United States. She said that Trump encourages his supporters to beat up anybody who disagrees with him. She said, at our best, America has rejected demagogues and fearmongers. So that's where she, she always has to get in that statement of snobbery, where she asserts herself as being above the other person, or being above everyone else. She speaks for America and says, America, at our best, we have rejected demagogues like Trumps and fearmongers, therefore saying, if you want America to be at its best, you will reject Trump. Why doesn't she just come out and say that? Because she's manipulating people, because she's trying to brainwash people, because that's what she does. Because she's a career politician, exactly what Trump is not. He gives his money, his presidential salary to charity. And Melania does as well. She gives it to a charity as well, I believe. So she also admitted all this to the Associated Press, that she called Trump a demagogue. Anyway, that's all we got for the Katie Sassine Show. I want to thank y'all for tuning in this week, and stay with us. We always have real news now, and we'll continue to address the indoctrination of the nation on the Katie Sassine Show.